Mereoleona, the lioness of House Vermillion, arguably one of the most badass women in all of shonen. Sisgolion, whose fire can even burn through potent water magic, something that is a weakness for every other fire mage, is nothing to this shield maiden. Versus Yami Sukehiro, the badass muscle-bound Chad who can literally slice through dimensions. The man who already was the main character of his own story and can surpass his limits like no other. This versus battle is one of the most hotly debated topics in the Black Clover community. Both of these are not only very powerful characters, captains of very powerful squads, but also fan favorite characters. It is very, very fitting that this would be the start to my new versus battle series, where weekly you guys will vote for who will participate and who you think will win. Also, if you comment your reasons why in those polls, you'll get a chance to get your comment featured in this video, or in these videos. I wanted to start a series on my channel that's very community driven. It was a series I used to do on my other channel, Broku72, and it was pretty well liked. So if you enjoy, please sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe so that we continue this versus battle series. Before I get into this video, I do want to admit some biases. Yami is my favorite character in the series, but Mereoleona is also one of my favorites, probably my third or fourth favorite character. But no, when it comes to scaling or versus battles, I don't really usually care who wins. I would just prefer for said characters to be properly analyzed to a good extent. I can put bias aside, like how even though Yami is my favorite character, I can admit that he would lose to people like Licht or Lumiere. So while I do have a bias, I'll be leaving that shit at the door. So the next phase of this video is reading your guys' comments. Now this will be a lot more just reading them and reading maybe what you have to say, and not really my own analysis. If you want to skip ahead to my analysis of these characters and really get deep into the versus battle, I'll leave a timestamp on the screen so you can just skip ahead and skip me reading these comments. With over 3,000 votes, 61% of you picked Yami, which I was half surprised by and half not. I knew Yami would likely win this poll, but I did not expect the disparity to be that much. I thought at most he would get 55% of the vote. But anyways, on to the first comment. The first comments will be people supporting Yami. This is from Zenetsu Akatsuma. All I see is Mereoleona dick riders. One guy's main point was that dark magic is slow. Are we going to ignore the fact that he puts it in his blade so there's no speed drawback? I'm not going to say for sure who would win because Yami has no power level cap and Mereoleona is pretty strong too. So I'll just wait. Going to be a close fight. Yeah, I do pretty much agree with you on that. People think that dark magic is slow. It is, but not with Yami because he pairs it with his physical strength and his katana. That would be something I will also touch up on in my analysis. This next comment is from Ijevi Bazaj. People are saying dark magic is slow and Mereoleona is faster and fights close combat. Yami could draw her in like he did with Patri and immobilize her, put her in Dark Cocoon, and then Dimension Slash her. Drawing her in would be easy for Yami because of Ki and seeing where she'll go. You can't really say Mereoleona would realize it because even if she did, she couldn't get in close. Basically, all of her attacks are high speed, close combat. Now, I'd say that she is high speed, close combat, and Yami is high speed, high reaction, plus he is like mid range and close range. This comment is from Samson Adim. You guys keep forgetting something. Yami might be slow with his dark magic, but let's not forget that Yami fought Licht and managed to hold him down. He fought the third eye of the Midnight Sun and held his own. He fought the Word Devil, and he did pretty well. Yami might be slow with his magic, but his ki is on par with Licht, even though he was slow. Yami always surpasses limits, so don't forget that, and Yami has never really let loose in a long time. We get to discover his race, and I'm guessing they're a monster. Now, if you're referring to maybe my theory video, where I have a theory that Yami might be half Jotun or half giant, maybe, but I'm not going to include any sort of that in this versus battle video, because that is just all basically theory, potential headcanon, but yeah, Yami did fight the third eye by himself and fought the Word Devil, so he does have some good feats and definitely is not slow. Now on to comments from Mereoleona. This is from Shinigami1. Really? Yami almost lost to Patri if he didn't get saved. This is going on mopped the floor with Raya, who was much stronger than Patri in battle. Now I'm not saying you're doing this intentionally, but that is just basically cherry picking facts. Yami then fought the third eye by himself. Yami then fought Elf Sharla and had to held back and was equal to her still despite holding back. So yeah, you're using old feats to downplay Yami, but I mean, it's a good point. Yami was not that strong earlier in the series. This is from Eisen Solo's Fiction. Mereoleona fondles overwhelming speed plus mana zone equals an L for Yami. Yeah, Mereoleona is pretty fast, her mana zone is very, very good, and could give Yami some troubles. This next comment is from Dan Green. Y'all dumb as hell. Mereoleona is the most proficient in the entire series with mana zone. Literally, Yami has done one attack which could easily be dodged. Noticed how every person who's done the Dark Dimension /2 wasn't even moving. While I will agree that Mereoleona is probably the most proficient in the entire series with mana zone that we've seen so far, y'all are downplaying Dark Dimension /. It is way faster than you think. Yeah, sure, he used it on Veto, and he used it on also Sharla, and they were not moving, but he also used it on Longris, who was basically, his spatial thing was moving, and he used it also on the Devil, and the Devil was moving and couldn't dodge it. And now, yes, it was a bit of trickery, but still, the fact that at that range the Devil couldn't dodge it still means that it is at least somewhat of a fast attack, and faster than Elf Patry's light arrow. Anyways guys, now we're going to get into my overall analysis of each character, starting first with Yami again. I will first start by listing his guidebook stats. With Dark Magic, he has a 5 out of 5 in Magic Amount, a 4 out of 5 in Magic Control, and a 4 out of 5 in Magic Sensing. He also has a 5 out of 5 in Physical Strength, and even at the time of the Witch's Forest arc, he actually had Physical Strength even surpassing Asta. He has a 4 out of 5 in Cleverness, and a 5 out of 5 in Limit Breaking. As in every single scenario where Yami has needed a limit break and lasted long enough before being interfered with, he would eventually get a limit break. He got one against the Third Eye, he got one in the Seabed Temple arc, and against the Devil by finally being able to use Mana Zone and get an even better version of Dimension Slash. So Yami's ability to limit break will be included in this versus battle, since it is a huge part to his skill set. If you don't believe me, play Quartet Knights. There's a young version of Yami in the game. He goes from being weaker than post-dungeon base Asta and Noelle at the beginning of the game, to being able to parry attacks from Third Eye Veto, and then by the end of the game, even rivaled his adult self. Now when it comes to Yami down players, they love to say, well, he couldn't defeat Patry despite having Patry's greatest weakness. And this current Yami in the manga is the same level of speed and strength, but just has a more very powerful spell, Dark Dimension Slash. Well, I can tell you this is blatantly wrong. In fact, directly after the fight against Patry, Yami gets a massive limit break against the Third Eye, which most people just chalk up to the Third Eye maybe being weaker than Patry, but no. The only way to explain this is Yami broke his limits. Patry states that the Third Eye are all stronger than him and surpass him in combat. This means that they would all defeat Patry. Also, this is backed up by Gauche, who states that they are on a whole other level, as in the Third Eye are on a whole other level than Patry. The narrator of the anime even goes to say that the Third Eye are each far stronger than Patry. The guidebook even states this as well. Now, even though a lot of people do agree with me that the Third Eye are stronger than Patry, they will still disagree with me that Fauna, and sometimes even Veto, are faster than Patry, and they're just slower but stronger. They say that the Black Bulls took Fauna down, and therefore she's not that fast, but it's important to mention that they were taken down by a much stronger and faster Asta, who had better key sensing, aided by Noelle, Finral, and Vanessa, who were all stronger since their bout with Veto. Also, Asta needed to use the focus version of his key to watch the Third Eye fight the captains, whereas he could use regular key to stop Patry and blitz him off guard. If you may be confused, key users will use key passively, but if they use a more concentrated version, the key sensing will be more potent, and Asta had to use a more concentrated version to watch the fight of the captains versus the Third Eye. And also, Gauche's statement of they're on a completely different level, that's a pretty general statement, and if they are that much stronger than Patry, that means they would easily defeat him, and I don't see them easily defeating Patry if they're slower than him. So this essentially proves my point that Yami got a limit break, become even faster and stronger than his previous self. So to boot, Yami held off the Third Eye with 1. A broken sword, 2. Less mana since he just had a pitched battle with Patry while the Third Eye were very fresh, and 3. Yami had to focus and expend some of his mana to protect his juniors. Also, it's important to note that he had no elemental advantage over the Third Eye like he did with Patry. So the gap between Patry and the Third Eye was pretty huge. Yami needed a limit break to hold him off. Now, fighting 3 captain level fighters at once is impressive, but this feat doesn't even come close to Mereoleona, whom fought Elf Raya, Elf Rill, and 3 other elves at once. Now I want to more so save talking this feat in depth for Mereoleona's analysis, but I want to bring this up as a bit of a comparison because I know you're thinking about it. Now, Mereoleona was able to hold off 5 elves basically by herself for a while and did pretty well. Now, Elf Raya alone would slaughter Yami, Veto, Bana, Raya, Charlotte, Nozel, and Jack in this scene of the Captains versus the Third Eye. That's the power gap that really happens in the series. So if Elf Raya could solo all of these people by himself, and Mereoleona took on Elf Raya plus 4 other elves, this puts her feat way above the Third Eye feat of Yami taking on the Third Eye by himself. So that puts her feat well above it, which is fine though, because Yami gets much stronger. For example, he's being equal to Elf Charla, despite holding back against her. Now, even Charlotte, before turning into an elf, was stronger than the version of herself that fought Raya. There was loads of evidence for captains getting much stronger over the course of the series, but that's going to be a video on its own in the near future. So then Charlotte turns into Charla, and not only gets a massive boost in mana, which would increase her speed, durability, attack potency, and stamina, but she also gets a more potent version of her Briar magic, turning her blue roses into more powerful red roses. Yami would have killed her quite easily if he had aimed the Dimension Slash directly at her. But he was just focusing on stopping the attack from destroying the city, not killing Charla. He then goes off to fight one of the most powerful characters in the series, Elf Longris. Mind you, it did take the combined effort of Yami, Jack, and Finral to take him down. But it is important to remember that Jack and Yami had to hold back killing spells since Longris was technically still an ally on the inside. But it's very important to remember that Yami and Jack were still likely running low in stamina at this point, as they had took down many elves prior to this battle. Which, this is also really important to remember how well Yami does against the devil, since he was fighting without recovery. For speed scaling, Yami was able to parry Storm of Swords from the devil, something that when launched at Elf Spirit Dive Uno and Black Asta, they could barely counter and dodge it together. And Yami was doing this, and he was stamina depraved, and he didn't have Mana Zone yet. And mind you, this was the same Uno who had dodged light attacks from both Elf Patri and Elf Raya casually, which should put Yami at least relative speeds to Mereoleona's 5 vs 1 elf feat. Needless to say that Yami has been fighting all day. After launching Dark Dimension Slash and missing Patri, he had to fight Elf Marks and Elf Owen. He then fought Elf Charlotte or Charla, including having to expend more mana with Dimension Slash against her. He fought many elves in the Royal Castle, including Longris, which he had to use another Dimension Slash on. Then he fought the Devil, and used another Dimension Slash, and yet despite all of this drain, was still strong enough and fast enough to carry on fighting against the devil, which shows that Yami's stamina is absolutely ridiculous, or how strong he truly is, or both. At the end of the devil fight, Yami breaks his limits once more, finally attaining Mana Zone, giving his Dimension Slash a much higher range in distance, and a much higher range in its actual size. This would also logically make it faster and stronger, since that is what Mana Zone does to spells. Now this means that Yami in Mana Zone is far faster, durable, and stronger than his Mana Skin or base/reinforcement magic states. He can spam any of his spells from anywhere, and in Mana Zone you have more stamina since you are borrowing nature's mana and expanding it to a wider area. Remember, a stamina depraved Yami was able to parry Storm of Swords from the Word Devil, whom Asta and Yuno could barely counter, and Yuno was easily countering Elf Raya plus Elf Patri's Light spell. A now 100% stamina, Yami, with Mana Zone, is going to be casually dodging that, and would probably be near unstoppable in terms of speed. Now, I don't know if Yami could spam Dimension Slash in Mana Zone, but he could at least have it come from any direction on his opponent, because that's how Mana Zone works. Now, he could potentially spam his black holes, any of his regular attacks as well. Yami's physical strength, paired with his katana, paired with Mana Zone, paired with his ki, is going to be unstoppable. Mana Zone boosts reaction, so Yami will likely be able to parry nearly anything that Mirio launches. He'll be able to foresee it all. Now that's pretty much it for my analysis on Yami. I just want to basically clear up a few misconceptions about him. Now, I want to clear up that Yami actually rivaled the power of Julius, as stated when he fought Patri. That is actually not the case. The only thing that Patri and Valtos had seen of Julius was a suppressed base form. Julius wasn't even using Mana Zone, and as stated by himself, was only using a fraction of his power. Patri then got way stronger from this point in the next several months. At this point, and when he fought Yami, and had his first encounter with Julius, he was weaker than a suppressed base Raya. But when he fought Julius, was equal to base Raya. This is proven basically when their light magic spells were roughly equal in speed against Yuno. So Patry got much stronger and was still nothing compared to Julius. Proves that Julius was holding back when in their first encounter when he almost took off Patry's hand. And, I mean, he was still holding back in his fight against Patry. So that proves that basically Yami was only compared to a heavily suppressed Julius, not to a full power Julius. I also wanted to disprove that Yami is slow because dark magic is inherently slow. Dark magic, yeah, it's naturally slow, but Yami has a large amount of it and is good at controlling it. He also pairs it with his insane physical strength, which, like I said earlier, it surpasses the Witch's Force Dark Asta's pure physical strength. Now, just think of how fast Asta is. Well, Yami's even faster and stronger, and his just regular physical strength, and then he can put his magic on top of that, making it even faster and stronger. If Yami was actually slow, he wouldn't have had a chance against Patry, the Third Eye, Sharla, or the Devil. Mereoleona is very strong. She's one of the few characters like Yami to have a 5 out of 5 in physical strength, and as a royal, she of course also has a 5 out of 5 in magic amount, with likely even more mana than Yami, as well as having a 5 out of 5 in mana control, and a 4 out of 5 in mana sensing. Her reaction times were on par with Veto, who was a key user. So her reactions are likely near Asta and Yami levels. I would doubt she is better at sensing than Yami though. Her fire magic is insanely refined, being able to even counter her main weakness, water. And these are even high level water spells, but it means nothing to her. This is because she not only was born with high amounts of magic as a royal, but lived in strong magic regions, which at least boosted her magic control far past most mages, as her use of Mana Zone is arguably superior to any other Mana Zone user in the series. Now, let's talk about Mereoleona's feats. Her first real concrete feat in the series is one-shotting a post-Witch's Force arc Black Asta. Black Asta who was faster and stronger than Spirit Ladros, whose sheer power surpassed the level of Third Eye Fauna and even surpassed her self-destruct state. Now, Mereoleona then fights against Raya, a member of the Third Eye. And remember, base Raya, while suppressed, was an equal to Charlotte. But against Mereoleona, not only was he going 100%, but also activated his Third Eye state, which boosts mana. So, the Raya that Mereoleona fought is leagues ahead of the one that Charlotte fought. Yet Mereoleona absolutely fodderizes him. Now, it is also important to note that Mereoleona, when fighting Raya, was holding back far more than you could even imagine. This is proven with the recent events of the anime. Raya goes into his self-destruct state, which is even more powerful than his regular Third Eye state. Then, when he transforms into an elf, his mana even surpasses that of the self-destruct state. This already puts Elf Raya at least 2 tiers of power stronger than before. But not only that, he can now use at least 3 separate magic types at once, as shown he uses Permeation Magic, Light Magic, and Spatial Magic. And despite the massive increase in speed, power, and durability, and using more than one magic at once, Mereoleona is still easily countering all of this. Then 4 more elves come. 3 Royal Knight Elves. And then Rill, who was a captain, who, in his human state, was at least a rival in power to Spirit Dive Human Yuno in the tournament. So this puts Elf Rill at roughly an equivalent to Elf Spirit Dive Yuno from the beginning of this arc. But keep in mind that the Elf Spirit Dive Yuno who dodged Patry and Raya's attacks is far stronger and faster than the one who fought Licht alongside Asta. All 4 elves except for Rill were being boosted by wing magic, meaning that Elf Raya and the other elves were now even faster than before. Elf Fragile was also using her snow magic to weaken Mereoleona's senses. She is still doing quite well against the elves though. This is a very impressive feat for Mereoleona. Now, she doesn't get more feats from here on out very much, only basically being an equal to El Veto and beating him by outsmarting him. Now, I would actually scale El Veto above Elf Raya, as Elf Raya was boosted by wing magic, had Elf Rill and 2 other elves fighting alongside him, as well as Fragile slowing down Mirio's senses, but that still barely brought her down. So Veto by himself almost took her down as well, so I would put Veto above Raya. That makes Veto ridiculously powerful, because he got a nerf and a buff since we last saw him. He gained Elven Mana, but lost his prime physical strength. Raya didn't get a nerf, he just got Elven Mana. So That just shows the gap in power between the third eye. The guidebook even states that Veto is the strongest, so that makes sense. Now, Mereoleona is pretty lucky that Veto didn't have both his prime physical strength and his elven mana, as she would have just plain lost that battle. One thing I do want to say though is Mereoleona is seemingly not very much of a natural talent. She has Kaleidos Brachium, a magic punching spell, which she pairs with Mana Zone to do a better punching spell, Kaleidos Brachium Barrage, and then her explosion spell, Kaleidos Brachium Purgatory, which is a Vegeta-like self-destruct spell. Except instead of killing yourself, you basically just sacrifice all of your mana. And when that spell was used, it split damage between 5 elves and damaged them all, which is a pretty impressive power feat, but still, she just has that weird capture spell, and that's it. She isn't very versatile, just a sheer fighter that she uses pretty much one spell and some variations of it. She also has what is potentially Reignition times 2, but I really don't know how to explain what it is. It might just be Kaleidos Brachium, but it's 2 times more powerful than normal. But anyways guys, that's really it for Mereoleona. Let's talk about this fight between her and Yami. So I'm just thinking a very neutral scenario. Just a regular open plain. And both these characters are bloodlusted and trying to kill each other. Unfortunately for Mereoleona, Yami is much more versatile than her, being able to protect himself with a cocoon, dragon spells with Black Hole, spam slashes with Mana Zone, and if he hits the right combo, can cut her in half with Dimension Slash. Now I know some people will say, well, Mereoleona is just going to punch right through his dark magic because that's what she does to every single spell. She already even has punched through Yami's magic. And well, that wasn't Dark Cloak Dimension Slash, just one of Yami's regular slashes, and Mereoleona could barely even counter the magic of Elf Royal Lyra when he drew the arm of a giant, and she couldn't punch through it easily like other spells. Which spell do you think is stronger? Dark Dimension Slash or drawing from Rill? I think it's pretty obvious to say Dimension Slash is stronger, therefore Mereoleona could not punch through it. Now I wouldn't be surprised if Mereoleona could dodge it with Mana Zone, but Yami likely wouldn't use it unless if he was rather close to her, or if he had trapped her with Dark Hole, or if he snuck it in on Mereoleona with his Mana Zone. Here's the thing, Mana Skin Yami was at least relative to Mana Zone Mereoleona, but now Yami has Mana Zone, and remember, he wasn't even at full power when he was relative to Mereoleona based on the speed scaling. This means Yami likely has the speed advantage here, and an even better reaction advantage with Ki paired with Mana Zone. Also, Mereoleona's fighting style works quite well against other mages because she's a brawler. Regular status quo mages have a tough time fighting that. Meanwhile, Yami is a swordsman. That means that he will somewhat counter the advantage that Mereoleona has over most mages. Feats in the series show that Yami has superior stamina to Mereoleona. This is even stated by the cards, which give Yami a 4 for stamina, and Mereo a 2. So Yami's more versatile, has a speed advantage, is at least a rival in baseline attack potency and durability. Meanwhile, Mereoleona's mana and stamina would likely drain way faster than Yami, causing her speed and power to dull over the course of the fight, while Yami would maintain his speed and power much longer. Once Mereoleona has slowed down, Yami would likely take the advantage, activating Dark Hole, causing her to slow down even more, and then spamming her with Lightless and Avidya Slash. Knowing that she is weakened, she would probably activate her full release and do Purgatory, her Vegeta-esque sacrifice spell. But Yami would just probably activate Dark Cloak Dimension Slash Equinox with Mana Zone, and it comes from any direction behind her and cleaves her in half. Mereoleona is dead. Yami is the victor here. Here's the thing. Even if you disagree with me and think Mereoleona is faster, she still has stamina issues. And the more the fight goes on, the weaker she would get. She would get weaker faster than Yami gets weaker. And even if her stamina somehow outlasts Yami, he will break his limits. Like I said, every single time Yami needs to break his limits and the fight isn't interrupted, he will break his limits. Whether that's a new spell, or whether that is by gaining a power increase. In order for Yami to lose this battle, he would basically have to prove a massive difference in speed and power between Mereoleona and Yami, which I just don't think he can do. I don't see it. Like I said, a heavily drained Yami, just with Mana Skin, is already relative to Mereoleona. Yami now has Mana Zone and would start the fight with full power. So I think Yami's definitely faster with Mana Zone, has better stamina, and basically his attack potency and durability should be at least somewhat similar based on lore and scaling. He's more versatile, has ki, and has an attack that ignores conventional durability. It cuts space. It cuts dimensions. So yeah guys, that's it for the video. I do think that Yami would defeat Mereoleona. I think I provided a lot of information, and what's interesting is, going into this video, I thought that Mereoleona was going to win. I didn't think that Yami was going to win. I thought it was going to be, Mereoleona winning, probably high diff, and I honestly think that Yami wins with at least mid difficulty. It might even be low difficulty. Now, it's probably more likely mid to high for Yami, but just based on the scaling, Yami has so many advantages over her. I mean, he has an attack that will damage her no matter what. He has ki, he's likely faster, he has more versatile spells, and he has limit breaking. So even if you want to say that Yami is slower, weaker than Mereoleona, if he just survives, he'll break his limits and probably defeat her. So if you want to exclude, the only really way I can see you having Yami lose this battle is if you find a way to scale Mereoleona to be way faster than Yami, stronger, and if you remove Yami's ability to limit break. But anyways guys, that's it for the video. Please let me know your thoughts down below, and I'm going to leave a poll in the next few days for the next versus battle scenario. So please do leave a like if you enjoyed, comment down below, subscribe, turn on notifications, join my Discord, link down below, follow my Twitter, link down below, and follow my Instagram, link down below. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Plus...